Alright, so Battlefield 6 has been out for over 2 weeks now, and to say that it's a resounding success would be an understatement. Nearly 750,000 Steam players on launch, 7 million copies accounted for in its first 3 days, and ongoing support against cheaters and exploits all give it the best launch in the franchise. I have personally anticipated the launch for this game since the beta, waited for minute 1 of the launch day to the detriment of my relationship, and I surprisingly only have around 28 hours as of this moment. I will keep playing the game regardless, as I have anticipated both an FPS game in this current space that can be enjoyed by casuals and actually gives a shit about its primary player base. I'm looking at you, COD. It's with that where I finally reached the topic of this video. Since being hands-on with the franchise, one specific class has always intrigued me, and it's one that unfortunately gets a pretty bad rap. That's right, it's the support class. This is one that has gotten its best possible kit within this game, as they serve as providers for ammo, health, and revives throughout the course of a match. There's a good amount of tools at your disposal, and it's worth learning everything the class has to offer if you'll main it. This is meant to be a beginner's guide, and others may have done the same by the time this comes out, but this is all based on what I've personally experienced and learned over the course of my time playing, so let's begin. As base support, you are able to drop a supply bag to give ammo and heal others at the same time, even under suppression, LMG proficiency, which allows for generally faster ADS and no sprint penalty when carrying an LMG, and squad supplies, which means you're a walking supply bag that needs to be interacted with the trigger. This can be done by interacting on your back, in order to get ammo as well as heal. With the combat medic training path, which is a default, you have urgent aid at the start, so you can drag teammates 20% faster and decrease revive time by 2.5 seconds compared to the base 5 seconds as a squad mate or in the other training path. At 3000 XP within the match, you trigger revive recovery, allowing for immediate regen when you trigger a revive, with the effect being halted for 1 second after taking a hit. At another 4k XP, you gain the defense focused perk, gaining defensive gadgets 25% faster in terms of charge time. The GPDIS destroys 2 more projectiles, the MPAPS extends tracking time by 5 seconds, and the deployable cover gains a 10% damage resistance. Finally, at yet another 4k, you gain the Restock Allies active ability, allowing you to be a walking supply bag for 10 seconds, and drag revives only take 1.7 seconds compared to the already short 2.5 seconds. Along with this, you have the L110 LMG to start, and even to this minute, I'm still running it, going as high as Mastery 23 with it. That said, the M123K outclasses it with fire rate. The DRS IAR does too, but not in ammo capacity. Defibs and deployable cover are also there, but I advise keeping defibs on, as the cover is fairly weak. So now, let's talk tactics. The support class is for resupplying and reviving, as stated before. The supply bag is static and triggers for players within a small radius, about 5 meters, so it's best to place them behind cover, or down halls with a group chasing behind. Something to note is that the supply bag takes 15 seconds to recharge back in your inventory, but if you pick it up, you'll decrease that time by about 5 seconds. When it comes to using weapons, suppression is key, so objectively speaking, you don't necessarily have to hit your target. But if you do, I suggest a low recoil build, as the L110 exceeds in medium ranges, though it's best to keep the hipfire stat at 40 just in case things get heated up close. Look at your screen now to see the attachments that I have made for this build at Mastery 23. And here it is at the firing range. For deployables, smoke grenades will be heavily advised, as you're not meant to play aggressive but defensive, as it is not only helpful for concealed revives, but also with moving fast from one side of the street to another while under visual cover. The defib, speaking of revives, can instantly revive somebody with 50% health, but a second's charge will bring them up to full, and it takes about a second to revive another this way. Your success as a reliable medic comes to when you take the call for a revive and how. I have died plenty of times after a revive because the medics were edging at the idea of an instant revive while within the line of fire. Oftentimes my teammates might simply be just around the corner, and this is where you'd have to be careful. It can help to drop smokes, but if your reach is far enough, you can just yoink the man from the line of fire back into cover for the revive. Though remember that with a 50% decrease in revive time and a 20% increase in drag speed, you need to be fast. But if your teammates are down into cover or within smoke, it's worth getting the defib ready and know that you can move around as if you had a knife, so you can slide into them. In the midst of the slide, you have enough time to charge the defib as well, so it's best to do that ASAP, and this goes for when you have any chance to wind up, which is pretty much all the time. Remember, do not defib in the line of fire, do a drag revive instead. With that said, defib deals 60 damage when charged, so it's best not to use it for melee, and you have to be within a meter of your down teammate, so you better stay close. If you're going to do an instant revive with the defib, it's best to do it for large groups, so it's best to drop the supply bag before doing so, trigger the healing and resupply at the same time. There are times where running out of ammo can occur, especially for our assault players out there. The GPDIS works like the trophy system from COD, so place that by cover or in hot objectives. And the MPAPS destroys larger weaponry like missiles, so it might be worth putting on top of tanks if you can. And the deployable cover is exactly what it sounds like, but again, dealing enough damage will destroy it pretty much instantly, and assault players can destroy it pretty quickly. And yeah, that's about it. I figured I would make this because of how frustrating it was to see medics either not reviving or doing so at the worst of times, so I hope this allowed for a bit of expansion in the class and to open the door for better medics out there. Keep in mind, I am not the sole source of tips, and you yourself might have some information worth sharing, so do feel free to share it wherever you want. But that's all for now. If you want to see more, then I'll do the assault class next. Though honestly, given how small I am, this might only happen if I get 100 views or so. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in the battlefield.